Jake, if you'd like to stand, what would you like to say?
John, I felt as a person, a sister, a mother, a daughter, I should have never got him back because I wasn't fit to be a mother. I knew that. I wanted him to stay with the movie family, but I was more pressured into getting him back because of the other family. They wanted him. I always wanted him to stay with them because I knew I wasn't fit. I gave my other kids up because I knew I wasn't fit to be a mother. I don't know how to be a mother. I don't even know who I am. And that's all I can say. And I apologize to everyone that I've heard. That's all I can say.
Right from the start, you can hear the guilt and confusion in her voice. But here's the question: is this true remorse or just regret for getting caught? What do you think? Does she sound sincere to you?
You know, Tamika, I have to always start a sentencing by reminding everyone what is the purposes and principles of what I do here. And that is, it's to punish you, protect the public from future crimes by you and others, using the minimum sanctions that this court determines accomplishes the purpose without imposing an unnecessary burden on court or government resources. I always have to consider the need for incapacitation, deterrence, rehabilitation, and restitution. The sentence I impose should be commensurate with and not demeaning to the seriousness of your conduct, its impact on the victim, and consistent with sentences for similar crimes by similar offenders. The sentence is not based on your race, your ethnicity, your gender, or your religion. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. You know, this case causes us to confront an often painful reality.
What the judge is outlining here is the legal framework for sentencing: punishment, deterrence, rehabilitation, and protection of the public. It's not just about the crime, it's about whether the system can prevent it from happening again. Watch how the tone slowly shifts from legal to deeply personal.
The cycle of neglect that can affect families across generations. Ms. Eggleton, you claim to have experienced neglect and abuse throughout your life. Without any stable parental role models, you went on to have 6 children, Curtis being the 4th. Curtis and his older brother and sisters were all removed from your care. Social services intervened to provide support systems aimed not only to protect the children, but also to heal your families. Through these efforts, our community tried to provide necessary resources and assistance to break the cycle of neglect and to foster an environment where you and your children could thrive. But as this case demonstrates, social services are not enough to break this cycle of abuse and neglect. Change requires effort from the mother. The record here shows that you abused and manipulated anyone who tried to help you. The overriding theme from professionals in contact with you is that you were verbally abusive, yelling, screaming, insulting, and threatening them. Apparently, you even threatened the director of a visiting center to the point where the police were called and a new location for visitation had to be located. I have a stack of letters from people who knew Curtis. Every one of them speak to how happy and active Curtis was in foster care. They said he enjoyed snuggling with his foster parents. They said he enjoyed running to his foster dad every day when the father came home from work, just so he could be scooped up in his arms. He had a little four-wheeler to play outside. He got to watch pigs, steer, chicken, cats, and dogs. He loved searching for rabbits and groundhog holes. He had sleepovers at his grandparents' house. There could be no doubt that he was absolutely thriving there.
This is where the case turns dark. The judge reveals how she manipulated the system using lies and false abuse claims to regain custody. This moment highlights a painful truth. When systems meant to protect children are exploited, tragedy can follow. Let that sink in.
For some reason, you couldn't let Curtis go. You couldn't let him thrive. 3 children before you escaped you, but you weren't going to let Curtis be. As you had done throughout your life, you lied, you manipulated to get what you wanted. You made completely false accusations of sexual abuse against Curtis's loving foster family. You subjected them and him to invasive examinations necessary to investigate these.
This is one of the most gut-wrenching parts. She put her son's body in a stroller and kept lying to everyone around her. Can you even imagine the level of deception here? If you were the judge, what sentence would you give after hearing this?
False allegations. Eventually, you manipulated the system to tear Curtis from this safe, loving home into a nightmare existence. You were clearly frustrated with the potty training Curtis was going through. As a 3-year-old boy who had just been traumatized by being removed from a home he had known from birth, it's entirely normal for Curtis to have frequent accidents. It was absolutely typical toddler behavior. You could have talked to a social worker. You could have talked to a doctor. You could have asked for advice. Instead, you chose to viciously beat Curtis. After you killed Curtis, your lies and manipulation continued as you attempted to hide what you had done. You put Curtis's body in a stroller, which I just saw these photos, with his infant brother and carted them around town, lying to people at the Family Dollar store, and then to the police with complete fabrications about where you had been and what had happened. You claimed Curtis fell at a water park. Of course, now we know that water park wasn't even open. Of course, the police did a great investigation here. They went through the cameras throughout the city of Cleveland to prove your lies. The autopsy proved your lies as it disclosed blunt force trauma throughout Curtis's tiny body from all your beating. Your actions are further compounded because you manipulated the system to remove Curtis from safety, only then to beat him to death for being a toddler within months. Today's sentencing is a moment of accountability. It is a recognition that our society will not tolerate violence against children. hear about you not knowing who you are or what you're doing, and that you probably should never have gotten courage.
31 to 35 years to life, that's the ultimate judgment. Notice how the judge emphasizes accountability. This isn't just a punishment, it's the court sending a message that the cycle of neglect ends here. Justice isn't fast, but it's deliberate.
His back. That wasn't what these papers and everything shows, and that's why we're here in this courtroom today. I've not heard one apology for causing Curtis's death. You've shown no self-awareness about what triggered you to inflict such pain on a defenseless child. Without recognizing what you did wrong, you'd repeat your conduct if given a chance. There's statements about mental illness. However, none of those statements excuse your conduct. You may recall recently, there was a sentencing in this court. A man from Parma killed his child because he heard voices in his head. He's currently serving a sentence of 30 years to life. Miss Eggleton, your cycle of neglect and abuse stops today. You will not be left alone with your surviving infants again. Your manipulation of the system to get what you want also stops today. As a result of that, on count number 4, the felonious assault count, I'm going to sentence you to 8 years. And as you recall, the rated code sentence on that count, it's 8 plus half, which is 8 plus 4. In count number 5, I'm going to sentence you to 8 years. And on count number 3, the murder, I'm going to sentence you to 15 years to life. I'm going to sentence those cases, or those counts, consecutive to each other. I believe consecutive sentences is necessary to protect and punish you. It's not disproportionate. And I find that these crimes were committed while you were pending case in a diversion program for theft, which I'll find you guilty of that offense on case 634420 and impose a 6-month sentence on that case. I also find that the harm in this case was so great or unusual that a single term does not adequately reflect the seriousness of the conduct. And I think that the history of use shows that these consecutive terms are necessary. So, Ms. Eggleton, the sentence imposed in this court is going to be.
As heavy as this case is, the judge still leaves space for redemption, a chance to reflect, learn, and change. It's a reminder that even in the darkest courtroom moments, the law still looks for the human inside the crime.
31 years to 35 years to life. And I'm going to tell you that when you get out, the parole board will monitor you for that mandatory period of time. If you fail to report or comply, they can obviously sentence you up to 1/2 of any prison sentence this court imposed. Further, there's a notice of duties to enroll as a violent offender under revised code 2903.41. And I see here, there's a signature here that you've been advised of those requirements. Is that your signature there? All right. Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to assign my name that you understand these. I'll have a copy given to you. So when you do get out, you'll have an opportunity to have these documents before you. For the purposes of the sentencing, I'm going to mark this as Court's Exhibit 1, which is the autopsy photos, protocol, and photos, and I'll keep that with the court reporter. And I'm further going to say, do you have the money or means to hire a lawyer for purposes of appeal on this sentence?
Not just right now, no.
All right. So I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent. They'll review the sentence on appeal and make a decision. Ms. Eggleton, I'm going to tell you this, that this sentence gives you an opportunity for reflection and remorse, a chance to acknowledge the harm caused, and to take steps towards your personal growth and healing. You have an opportunity to better yourself while in jail. Take classes, participate in workshops. You can still be a positive force in the lives of your surviving 5 children if you can grow and recognize what led you to take this frustration out on this young toddler. It's my hope that you can learn important life skills and eventually come back into society and help loving and safely interact with grandchildren. Thank you. That's the sentence.
Your Honor, can we have one